everyone. Welcome back to Campden Interactive Series. Today, we would be discussing a very important and relevant topic, focusing on business losses or failures. When a family establishes a business, they set it up with a vision of continuity and sustenance. However, there are various reasons a business could fail or go into losses, and each entrepreneur has a very different way of tackling the situation. In today's episode, we have with us Mr. Alkesh Shah, Vice Chairman of Goldstar Jewelry. Welcome, Mr. Shah.
Thank you.
A third generation family member, Alkesh believes in going that extra mile to ensure the right results. His experience and vision have been instrumental in making Goldstar a vertical manufacturer in diamonds. So welcome again, sir. We're really happy to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on this platform, and I appreciate for giving an opportunity.
Great. So, as I mentioned before, would love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep this conversational. Let's keep this informal. Of course, to guide us today, I do have a list of potential questions, and let me start off with that. What are some of the common reasons for business loss or failure? This is a very touchy topic for all of us entrepreneurs, and I
Yes,
know it's a very broad question, but would love to hear your thoughts on something like this.
quite a few reasons. One are definitely there's internal reasons and external reasons. Both play a bigger role. Internal could be, your company is bleeding and you fail to see where it's bleeding from, or external is the market is changing too fast, the competition is changing too fast. There are a lot of disruptions happening from all the sides, and you fail to pay attention to all those things. And certainly that leads to the failure. So in today's world, if you don't pay attention to every detail, and if you're not in you take your business for granted, you take your growth or your success for granted, and you end up with the failure because of the fast changing scenario. And that's why it's very important to stay on top of every detail. I wouldn't say a minute detail, but certain touch points are very important. The change scenario is very important, where you need to constantly be on top, guide your team to the right direction to avoid those failures, and continue on the success path.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I think it's also a question of different times, right? As entrepreneurs, we always feel we can conquer all, and even though others have had challenges in certain businesses, we will be able to overcome those challenges, and we will be able to sort of have an outcome which is different. I think back in the day, before globalization, it was still capital that differentiated businesses in our country, especially around the license raj and what have you. But today, with the world opened up with all kinds of macroeconomic factors, with professionalization of businesses, the fact that we have capital, right? Because capital can come from anywhere. It's about how we build a business in the modern age.
Very important.
And to that point, it's always an interesting tug of war with the younger generation, which leads to my next question is, as a younger generation comes in with their new ideas, as entrepreneurs that are hungry, that are, completely committed to achieve, how do you sort of see a foreseeable downfall? And how do you catch it at the right time without sort of sucking the energy and excitement out of the person that's kind of trying to do it?
That's a very good question, especially with the young generation. I mean, they're too smart.
Yeah,
they're very aggressive.
they have answers to all the questions.
They have answers to all the questions. They want to achieve too many things too fast. They want to look at the shortcuts, and they want to see how they can have the quick buck, grow the fastest.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Honestly, I see them as a wild horse. Put them in the right direction, and they can win the race. And it's very important that the right grooming has to be done. And along with the right grooming, time after time, you need to make them, especially at the initial stage, it's very important for to sit with them every month, let them run through all the numbers, let them run through every quarter the detailed reports, and also they would understand why the numbers and the details are important. When they're making the decision, allow them to make the decision, but initially the smaller decisions are important, then later on take them to the bigger decision. And more important, the risk versus the reward is what they need to understand. Once they understand the basic importance of the reports and uh, the risk management, then it becomes a lot easy. You give them the space, you give them the freedom, which is very important, because they are honestly, they are too smart, and they know the how to get the work done, especially in today's world, faster than what we can get it done. Let them grow with their own, by their own mistakes. So let them make, as long as those mistakes are small, they will become a stepping stone for them. So allow them to do that, and that will lead to them to the right direction. So I would say that yes, time after time, it's important to stand by at the initial stage and make sure that they don't really jump into those bigger risk, because sometimes they tend to get carried away, and that's where you just have to hold them, and guide them in the right direction. It's not easy, but it's not that difficult also, as long as you do it in a very friendly way, and you, rather than being a boss, or rather than being someone like a teacher, just sit next to them and explain them in the right way, then and then they're ready to take it, they're ready to digest and take forward in the right spirit, is what I would say.
Very true. And I think one, aspect which I think helps a lot is to impose a framework of that financial discipline and management discipline. So even though the family business might have a large balance sheet, if a new generation entrepreneur wants to do something, have them prepare a business plan, have them prepare a budget, that this is X amount of money that we're going to allocate to this, and let them then track as per that budget, very much as today any other entrepreneur in the country would do, right? I mean, you have startups that will go raise monies. Let's say they raise $1 million. They know that's the only money they have to keep the lights on.
Right.
And sometimes I think even within a business construct, it helps, because I feel then you can sort of you question yourself at the end of that 1 million to see whether we should put another 1 million, or
Yes.
we should maybe pull back and take a loss, which is very hard to do. But
But it's better to stop at some point rather than continue to bleed, where
exactly.
it just kills you. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's better, easier to digest theoretically losing 1 million than 10 million. I think
I agree. And honestly, this will also teach them a good lesson, because stopping at certain point, it's a bitter pill to bite, but
yeah,
that will also teach them a lesson that yes, they will learn from their mistakes, as I've said, and that will put them on the right track, rather than continue to let them lead the wrong track and let the lead to the downfall of the family or the business. So it's, yeah, some point you have to say no, but it's better to say no.
absolutely. And I think that also, again, great segue into our next question is, everything comes back to the dinner table at home, right? Especially in family businesses. And these are, I call them sometimes uncalled for board meetings that you don't want to do, but what happens. And that's when the blame game starts, those four very horrible words that each next gen hates to hear is "I told you so." And how do you kind of play out this blame game? When you're in a difficult position, and support the family, or support your family member both emotionally in this crisis time.
See, honestly, there's one thing that we all should try and avoid, is discussing things on the dinner table,
I agree.
because that always leads to trouble, and the blame game, and the it leads to the crack between the family, the relations and everything. And then one thing that I would suggest everyone, and even I try to avoid, is discussing on the dinner table. Even if in our family, when the women are involved and they know what's happening in the business and they know what's happening with our top line or bottom line, but then they are called to office and we discuss in the office 2 times a year. They come to office 6 months and 1 year down the road, they see the numbers where we stand, but I strongly avoid discussing on the dinner table. So this would be my advice to everyone, that if you want to have a healthy relation and if you want to enjoy your time together, whether it's a dinner time together or it's the discussion together, then have discuss everything else but not the business when you are at home. In terms of the crisis and all, look, we all go through our ups and downs, and that's where it's very important that we, as an adult, or the generation who has already gone through all the ups and downs and have learned from it, handle it in a matured way. Rather than getting into the blame game, sit and understand why we are in this trouble zone, what has led us to this trouble zone, and how do we get out of this trouble zone. Is there a way to get out of it? Then let's discuss the way out of it and how fast can we get out of it and what each one can play a role. Because wherever we are today is because of our own mistakes. It's not because of the mistakes of another family member. And then just, when we something good is happening, we say I have done it. When something bad is happening, we say you have done it. But rather than that, we say we should be using, if it's good then we have done it, if it's bad then we have done it. And when we say we in both, then let's take this in the
Yeah.
positive spirit,
Yeah.
and then try and find a way out rather than blaming, because blaming will just make things more difficult, and there'll be more and more cracks, and it's going to make things more wider. And even if there's a possibility of bringing things together, they will never come together, and the entire empire or the family will collapse. And that's not in the interest of anyone, because you're losing your family members with whom you had wonderful time, and you're losing all your hard work and that you have put in to build the empire is going to go in drain, and it's not helping any one of them. So the best thing would be is to sit and find out where and what has led to this situation and how to come out of it, and which is the best way to come out of it, if there is a way to come out of it. If there is no way to come out of it and fold, then you rather fold and look for something as a new beginning.
Agreed. And is there, if I may ask, any personal experience you have around this matter that you would like to share or be comfortable sharing?
Look, we all have, I'm sure we all have had our personal experience. My experience was in 2008 when there was a world crisis. Even our company went through the trouble zone. And there were some losses, and there was we were on the expansion mode, and suddenly there were crises. So when you're trying to go up and there is a crisis, you have to change your complete game altogether. So I sat with the family, and then we had our own open discussion, and we decided, okay, let's plan. And so we planned everything out. It took us 3-4 years, which was our initial plan, that it would take us minimum 3-4 years to get back on track. And it did take 3-4 years. It took, in fact, a little longer because of the external reasons. But finally, from 2014 onwards, again, we were on the expansion mode. And from 2014 till date, we have constantly been growing, and the business has been on the expansion mode. So which is a good thing. And this we could do it because we all sat together and went through the entire plan, and then there was checkpoints, and then we were constantly running through them all the time. Every quarter, every year, we were running to make sure we were on track with what our initial plan was, and whether things have changed. If things have changed, then what do we need to do, recorrect or redo our planning. So which has really helped. And then that the two benefit we have got out of this is the family is still united. We all are three brother and father, all are still in the same business. We all are enjoying business, and we all are enjoying our relation.
That's great. And thank you for sharing that. I think that's, to come out of something like that makes you stronger, doesn't it? It's just
Absolutely, absolutely. And that not only makes us stronger, but shows that how much family loves each other and how much they are willing to support when there are thick and thin.
And I think we've already addressed my next question, but anything you want to add in terms of failure by the next gen? How can the earlier generation support them so that it doesn't become, doesn't completely deflate their confidence?
As I've told before, that the best way uh, to avoid the failure is groom them and make them understand that why the right team is important, the delegation is important, delegating the right thing to the right people is important, why looking at all the numbers all the time is important, why making sure that the risk management is done properly before they make any decision, and especially when there are small decisions, it's absolutely fine. But when there are big decisions, the entire team is there to support them and has a say in that. So the chances of failure are minimized, and give them the freedom, but initially give them the freedom to an extent where they don't end up making big mistake. Like recently, one of the family member, not our family, but I know one of my friends' family, uh, the son just did the forward of oil, which I know everyone is aware of, and
Yeah.
ended up losing hundreds of crores.
Yeah.
It was a small mistake but landed up in the big loss. So it's important that the kids should be made aware of all this, that how difficult it's to earn and how easy it's to lose. And they think it's a small forward contract, but where it lead to was a huge trouble for the family. We just have to be by them. Once we feel they are matured enough, then leave them on their own. But initial stage is important to be by them, to sit with them, to go through all the reports and go through all these examples, or the case studies which are out there in the market, for them to know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah. As we open this talk, completely agree with you that I think the kids nowadays want to do everything and achieve everything very quickly. And I think sometimes you just have to realize it takes a while to build a business, anywhere in the world. It can't happen overnight, although you can get suddenly big valuations or all of that. But those are all financial metrics. But when you look at on the ground, it still takes time to piece together a credible business.
True.
One thing we should learn from our previous generations or not to do is recognizing when to admit defeat, because I feel time is also precious.
Yes.
And you're only in your 20s once, so you're only in your 30s once. I think it's tricky for the younger generation how to be not too quick at making judgment and spending time on the business, at the same time not being uh, too drawn in where they are not able to admit that okay, this is not working and I should move on. So in your view, how would you sort of advise them in terms of detecting early signs of failure where they can say, okay, you know what, this is not me, this is really a business problem that can't be solved, and it's time that I should wrap this up and go to a new venture? Like, any broad thoughts on that?
Well, today's generation thinks completely different.
Yeah.
So even if we have a broad thoughts for
Yeah.
them to digest is completely different thing. I would just say that, look, set yourselves a certain benchmark where if you're bleeding beyond that, then just call it
Mm.
off.
Yeah.
Don't go too far out where there's no U-turn or no turning back. Absolutely. I mean, so don't go too far. If you've started with, let's say, $10,000 and you decide that 5,000 is my cap, and if I go below 5,000, then I need to stop. Then that's what you
Yeah.
need to do. I would give them the freedom, but I would only give them an advice saying that, look, just you get this opportunity once, and if that is one time opportunity, think it's only one time opportunity, and take a call based on that, and go for it. If you think you're making a mistake, don't shy away from it. Don't go with your ego of not to call it off. Wherever you feel like calling off, or wherever you feel like taking a help, just feel free to do so. Don't stick to your own world or your own ego, because that may lead to a downfall which you would not like to see. So
Thank you. Fair enough. So actually, that's pretty much what we have for today. Thank you so much, Alkesh, for sharing your thoughts and views so candidly.
no,
Uh, Really
thank you.
appreciate it, and I'm sure the audience will also appreciate your perspectives. The Campden community is always grateful for the time and knowledge that's contributed by our members. So thank you.
Thank you. It's indeed a pleasure meeting you, Aryan, and hopefully looking forward to see you in one-to-one person once,
Look forward to
whenever
that.
time permits. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned with us for more such candid conversations at the Campden Interactive series. See you all next time. Take care and stay well and stay safe. Thanks.
Thank you.